and welcome. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, or FAO, has worked together within the Indonesian government for a long time. Indonesia has become member of the organization since 1948, and the FAO Representation Office in Indonesia was established in 1978. Since then, the FAO has worked in Indonesia, delivering various programs, including in crops production, livestock, fisheries, and forestry. In September, a new representative or country director of FAO for Indonesia and Timor-Leste, who just moved from Afghanistan, presented his credentials to the Indonesian Foreign Minister Retno Marsudi. The new representative, Mr. Rajendra Aryal, reaffirmed his organization's commitment for a stronger relationship or partnership with Indonesia to transform the agri-food system in the country. The two officials also highlighted that the agri-food system transformation will rely on agriculture digitalization, such as e-agriculture and innovation. To know more about the current works of FAO in Indonesia, today we have Mr. Rajendra Aryal with us. Mr. Aryal, welcome, and it's an honor to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So how are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much. How are you?
Okay. So you know that you just formally began your tenure as a representative or country director of FAO for Indonesia and Timor-Leste in September, right? So what's program that will become your top priorities during your assignment in Indonesia?
Well, actually, we have just finalized our country programming framework, which we call CPF, which is very much aligned with this Indonesian plan RPJMN 2020-2024 and the UN Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework. So there are 4 priorities actually to guide FAO partnership with the Indonesian government: supporting disaster risk reduction and improved resilience to climate change, sustainable natural resource management for crops, livestock, forestry, and fisheries, improve agriculture productivity, value chain development and competitiveness, and strengthen the enabling policy, legal, and institutional environment to improve livelihoods, food security, and nutrition. So my priorities would therefore be to focus on the country priorities. And second, as you know, the pandemic has exacerbated the agri-food system in the country, not only in the country, globally, and it is actually threatening to push millions more into hunger. Even before pandemic, probably you have seen the statistics. There were like 2 billion people did not have regular access to enough food, safe and nutritious food. And now more than 800 million people are considered as food insecure, and almost
Right.
So that means this is the time that we really work together. Hunger is at the same time on the rise. Obesity is on the rise. And we are facing other issues such as environmental degradation, food loss and waste, climate change, So these factors are causing other imbalances. So probably you are aware that there was this UN Food System Summit that was held in New York this year.
Right.
Countries, including Indonesia, presented the national pathways to build a more resilient agri-food system as a priority. And this is the area where FAO and Indonesia, we have started working together, and it is looking at several indicators, and we'll be continuing our work closely together to improve Indonesia's performance against these indicators. So, this would be mainly my priority. To work together.
Right. But you know that we just have the pandemic starting last year, right? So is there any difference of the priority? I mean, this is a new priority or continue the old priorities that you have? I mean, it's the FAO has.
No, this is not a new priority. This country program framework, as I said, it has gone through the process of discussion. But uh, what is happening is like we have got one extra layer of challenge because of the pandemic, and that
Right.
has pushed more people into hunger and poverty. You know, and this is the time that we look at the issue through the lens of agri-food system. Agri-food system is like the whole chain from production, you know, storage, transportation, processing, distribution, consumption, even food loss and waste. So this is the time that we have to look at the whole issue through the lens of agri-food system. And this would
Hmm.
be the topmost priority for me now to work together with Indonesia.
So is there any like special programs for this agri-food system program in Indonesia?
Well, actually, we are working very closely together with the Ministry of Agriculture, and we are, as I said, like, we are looking at these indicators and somehow also looking at like how other countries are performing. So where does Indonesia sit now, and what we can do to improve the situation in Indonesia. So it's not a sort of like a special program per se, but it's a sort
Mhm.
of like a concept that has been agreed upon during the UN Food System Summit this year, and which has been also endorsed by Indonesia along with the national pathways. So this should be the direction. And
Right.
one footnote I would like to add here is this, like, COVID-19 situation. We thought that COVID is over. Now it's not over. We have a new variant, as you see.
Still.
We don't know what's
So,
going to happen. I mean, yesterday Japan
right.
closed the arrivals of all international passengers. We don't know what
Indonesia
happens
close to
next.
some countries too.
Exactly. Indonesia closed like 10 countries. So we don't know what's
Yeah.
going to happen. So in this uncertain situation, now we have to build back better, and we have to become much stronger, because it's not even post-COVID situation. We are still in the middle of COVID with new variants, the mutation happened now. So, so again, coming back to this 2021 Indonesia VNR report, there are several important programs and activities that have started in 2021 and that are leading towards achieving the sustainable development goal too, and transforming the agri-food system remains the priority. So and these all clearly fall under FAO's mandate, so we are very committed to work together with the government of Indonesia to achieving
Mhm.
this SDGs, especially
Yeah.
this SDG 2, I would say.
Right. And you know the problem in Indonesia, actually that we have a big potential, right, in the agriculture, in fisheries, in the food security, actually, the food security potential. But still, we have a problem. And then also the government have a new project with a food estate, right? So what do you think on the food estate project?
Well, actually, I'm still new to the country. I have really not been able to go into the depth of the food state, so it will be a little bit early for me to comment on food state. But what you say is like, Indonesia has tremendous potential, and also, Indonesia has made significant progress, in the fight against hunger. And if you look at the recent statistics showing very positive trends in food security and malnutrition, but there are problems, yes. I mean, the it's like we need to pay more attention now and look at the missing, the gaps, where the gaps are, where the missing links are, and this is where we need to make work together closely. This is what I would like to say here.
And it's also right now that after the COPs in Glasgow last month, there's a big problem also in the climate change, right? So what do you think about the food security related to the climate change?
See, climate change, I mean, somehow we cannot escape, right?
Yeah.
It's having a major impact on food security across the globe. And many millions of people who are already suffering from chronic undernutrition, undernourishment. They are small scale farmers, fishers, pastoralists who are always at the forefront, whose life, it's somehow like even a small shock can push them into further trap of poverty and hunger. And these are the people who always suffer from the impact of climate change. And unfortunately, the disasters are increasing in frequency and intensity. I mean, you have seen Indonesia, the strong El Nino effects last year, So this is where exactly now we need to have a sort of concerted action. We need to build resilience, and resilience of those who are the most vulnerable, who struggle on day-to-day basis to generate enough food and income to feed themselves and their families. And this drought conditions we have experienced also because of El Nino last year, that contributed to forest fire, peatland fires, and that caused significant delays in the planting season. And we have seen, like, if you look at the eastern part of the country, there are severe issues with water scarcity, and that is going to affect the production. So and unfortunately, this rising temperature is going to happen. So what we need is now is like, we can expect that there will be further pressure on the natural resources in Indonesia, including, water availability, threats to forest, marine resources, also on the soils. So the conservation, looking at some innovative solutions, how we can improve the soil and water, how we can conserve them, how we can engage the farmers, make them more resilient, and be more productive in all fisheries, forestry, agriculture. I think this is where we need to be really, concerned about and work together.
Pada saat ini dan akan datang, korporasi sangat membutuhkan SDM yang mampu beradaptasi dengan dunia bisnis yang serba digital termasuk kegiatan pemasaran. Untuk itu, kami hadir dengan membuka program studi manajemen pemasaran internasional yang akan dikuatkan dengan pembelajaran local culture di banyak negara. Kurikulum dirancang dinamis mengikuti perkembangan dunia kerja dan dunia usaha yang bergerak begitu cepat. Tempo Media Group sebagai penyelenggara pendidikan berpengalaman di industri media dengan reputasi tinggi selama lebih dari 50 tahun. Para pengajar dari kalangan praktisi akan mendidik mahasiswa program studi manajemen pemasaran internasional untuk siap bekerja di dunia profesional. Kurikulum Politeknik Tempo berbasis keahlian terapan dengan muatan 60% praktik yang didukung fasilitas Smart Campus dengan digitalisasi sistem belajar. Mahasiswa berkesempatan praktek kerja langsung di lebih dari 20 perusahaan di lingkungan Tempo Media Group dan Mitra Politeknik Tempo. Lulusan sarjana terapan manajemen disiapkan untuk berprofesi menjadi marketing planner, digital marketer, konsultan pemasaran, customer relation management, dan juga entrepreneur yang berorientasi pasar global. Raih masa depan cerah bersama Politeknik Tempo dengan belajar di program studi manajemen pemasaran internasional. Jadilah profesional marketer baru di era digital. Mari menjadi bagian dari keluarga besar Empower yang kreatif, mandiri, dan siap kerja.
Yeah. And then besides talking about the policy from the government, we also discuss about the farming system. I mean, it's like at the small part of the system. It's from the family or from the individual, right? So is there any idea what people can do for the sustainable agri-food system or in the agriculture system?
See, family farming. I mean, Indonesia has made a sort of like made a milestone. A real example has been set in family farming. Actually, a few weeks back, we put a very, very strong story on FAO global website about a farming family, who have successfully led not only the family farming at their household level, but also they have set an example in the community. So important is that there are like millions of small farmers, and in order to build their resilience, we need to support these farmers, to grow their food for their own consumption, as well as sell some surplus into the local market to generate income. And if this concept, if the senses, if these people are sensitized and if they are made more aware, even the families could be together. The small children can also learn how they can grow food together. So this remains a critical, and I understand that this has been also mainstream in the government policy. So and I would say that the small scale smallholders, this is the best way to make them more resilient, so that they can have access to food, safe and nutritious food, but also set up an example. And this is such an example that that would help not only Indonesia but also other parts of the country, I would say.
Yeah,
in
so
this
it
whole
means
fight
also
against.
involving the young people in the
Absolutely.
agriculture.
See, young people, if you go to every country, you see this huge rural urban migration. The young people are not interested in agriculture anymore because
Right, you're right.
agriculture doesn't bring cash every day. If you work in the
Right.
city, probably you can earn everyday cash, and they have they have money in their pocket. So somehow we have to make agriculture more attractive, to retain our people. Otherwise, agriculture will be left at the hand of aging population, and we'll have another sort of food insecurity or food scarcity crisis.
But it's really difficult, right, to attract young people to involve in the agriculture sector. So you have any idea how to do that? I mean, it's like how to make them attracted to this agriculture.
It's difficult, but it's not impossible, I would
It's
say.
not possible.
You see, I have got the example. I'll give you very concrete examples from two countries, middle income countries. One is
Right.
Serbia, where I worked in Eastern Europe, and one is Turkey. It's the same problem. The young people do not want, and they have access to also go to some other industrialized countries to work. So in order to make agriculture more attractive to the young people, we need to bring value addition to the products, how best we can help them connect with the market with value addition. That is number one. Number two, bring some new innovative technology, such as what we did in Turkey is like greenhouse, sophisticated greenhouse that, if you wait for like 1 month or 45 days, you can produce vegetables, and the vegetables can easily go to the market and brings cash. And you can sell vegetables every day with improved variety of seed, tomatoes, okra, and so on. And another element is digitalization. You already mentioned at the beginning e-agriculture. I mean, everybody is tech savvy now. I was in NTT a couple of weeks back, and I met a farmer, and I asked him, like, how do you order this improved variety of corn seed? And he said, my son helped me order online. You see?
Okay.
So this is a small example of e-agriculture, So digitalization would definitely help them. So he got improved variety of seed. He got very good yield. That not only helped his own household level food security, but also helped him generate some cash.
Okay.
That's why I said it's difficult, but not impossible.
Right. How do you see the digitalization of the agriculture sector in Indonesia right now? It's still not optimal, right? It's like you can scale of this number. It's like from 0 to 10. So where is the position of Indonesia right now?
Oh, that is a very tough question, actually. I don't think I am in a position to really measure that, as per the scale. But as I said, when you see the number of people using mobile phone and having internet access here is tremendous, right? So, and as FAO, we are also working together with the Ministry of Agriculture. As probably Ministry of Agriculture has this agriculture war room, which has like, state-of-the-art technology to promote digital agriculture in the country, and we have joined hands with the government, and we are also implementing something pilot in some areas in Java. So I hope that and if you do good job, I mean, for a country like Indonesia, resources would not be a problem, right? We can, if we do good job with some good practice, it can be expanded horizontally, vertically, with additional resources. What is necessary at this time is how we make this innovation real.
Okay, right. But there is a massive development of construction in Indonesia, right? The housing complex, building, and other infrastructure project. Do you think that it become threats for the agriculture sectors?
Well, it's everywhere, it's all over the world. It's not only Indonesia. It is going
So
to
how
affect,
we make balance of
yeah,
it?
I think that is where the policy plays a role. So we'll have to find appropriate policy just to make sure that I mean, you cannot stop urban expansion, right?
Right.
But at the same time, we should not also compromise the availability of agricultural land, because it's the same land whether you build house or you grow food.
Right.
There will be no additional land on earth. So
we cannot expand the land, right?
exactly. I mean, unless you go and destroy everything. So in order to optimally utilize the available land, I think this is I mean, we need to work on proper appropriate policies, making sure that urban development also takes place, but the rural production and food production doesn't get compromised.
Right. The FAO suggested that the antimicrobial resistance, or AMR, is one of the biggest threats to global health, food safety and security, plant and animal production, and global economy, right? Can you explain about that?
This is a very burning issue, actually, you brought in, last week we concluded this World Antimicrobial Awareness Week, starting from 18th to 24th of November. It's called silent pandemic.
Right.
It acts very slowly, but as per the statistics, around 700,000 human deaths are experienced each year related to this antimicrobial resistance, and that this affects both animal and human health. And if we do not take proper action by 2050, which is very alarming actually, the global economy may lose more than $6 trillion annually, which is like 4% of the global gross domestic product, GDP.
Right.
24 million more people might be forced into extreme poverty, and many in low-income countries. So that means another additional layer of challenge that will lead to more number of people hungry or suffering from malnutrition. And this could be another challenge for the world to achieving the SDGs, particularly, again, Sustainable Development Goal 2. So it is a threat, and it is dangerously rising in all parts of the world. And this threat is compromising or threatening our ability to treat even common infectious diseases, And this is also not letting agricultural sector just go away. It could cause production losses. It could damage livelihoods. It could jeopardize food security. And then it could have, it could be in our food system. It could be in our farming system. And it could be also in our food chain, and it easily moves between animals and humans and the environment. So that is the problem with AMR.
Can you give us example for the latest case of this problem?
Well, actually, I don't have a sort of like a case per se to present, but this is, as I said, it's a silent pandemic. The thing is that, like, people take antibiotics, and with this AMR, antibiotics simply don't function. So it will be difficult to treat diseases with medicine.
So how we can prevent it to become a global problem?
So actually, there's this, in order to address the AMR, what we adopt is something called One Health approach.
Okay.
which is to promote the best practices to reduce the emergence and spread of this antimicrobial resistance in both humans and animals, plants, and the environment. So Indonesia is already at the forefront, I would say. A national action plan on AMR has been developed and implemented by different stakeholders. And this is not like one ministry's job. It involves a lot of line ministries. For example, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries, Environment and Forestry, you name them. Ministry of Defense, National Agency of Drugs and Food Control. So this is really like one health approach. It includes also international organizations such as WHO, FAO, National Antimicrobial Resistance Control Committee, different professional organizations, think tanks, universities, private sector. So it's like really, a multi-sectoral, multi-stakeholder approach, adopting One Health, and this is the solution.
You have worked in several countries before, right? And how do you find the differences in the agri-food system in each country that probably Indonesia can learn?
Well, I think we talked about it. We need to make, Indonesia being a upper middle income country now, we need to somehow attract the young people to be active in agriculture. I think this is a common problem. I gave the examples of 2 other countries,
Right.
So we should make sure that our food basket remains engaged with young people. And then, as already mentioned, like there are some good practices from countries of similar context. We can bring good practices also. We can see how Thailand is managing it, or how Turkey is managing it, how Serbia is managing it. So I think these are the things. But at the same time, Indonesia also has very good practices. We can even bring these practices to other countries as well. So it's like two-way traffic, I would say.
Yeah. Although you're just here for 2 months, 2 or 3 months.
3 months.
So how do you find Indonesia? It's like, what's the most interesting so far?
Well, Indonesia, it's not my first time. I was in Indonesia. Actually,
Okay.
I worked in Aceh for 1 year after tsunami. And then I moved to Jakarta. And Indonesia has been, and I'm not lying or exaggerating. I'm telling you the truth from the bottom of my heart. The connection I could develop in Indonesia, this human connection, I could always keep it. I could never forget that connection. So when I got this opportunity, I said, oh, it's pulang kampung for me. Because Indonesia has always been my second home, to be sure. And I'm telling you the truth. Because when I got this offer from my organization, my children said, oh, that's the country you love, so you're going back home. I said, yes, I am.
That you work for FAO for a long time, right? Do you always or often observe the food at your table as part of the agri-food system?
Yes, indeed. It's part of the agri-food system. I always try to look again through the lens of the whole food chain, from the production side up to the table. So that's what we say, this from farm to fork. But one thing that also sometimes detrimental to me, and I'm gaining weight in Jakarta, probably I have to lose my weight, is because the food waste, because the portion is a bit big. I have realized in Indonesia, nowadays, actually, I have started eating only half portion, sekanga, nasi putih.
I see.
So
you never have waste.
I don't want to waste, because I work in food security areas. So food waste and loss is an issue here. So when I look at the food on the table, I make sure that I consume every consumable on the table. And this is also the message I want to give to everybody. Let's not waste the food, because there's no issue with food production in the world. The thing is like how much people waste and how others can access it, So this is also, again, the elements of agri-food system, right? Availability, accessibility, consumption, stability. So
okay. Mr. Alial, thank you very much. We really appreciate you coming on this program in Temple Talks. I'm Prabandari. You can watch the next Simple Talks next month with another interesting topic and interesting guest.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
thank you.